All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Oh my days. Oh my days. What have I woken up to? I was literally having a sleep, boys. I haven't been feeling too well since yesterday, so I was asleep. I woke up and see all of these WhatsApp messages from different groups saying Lampard sacked, and I'm like, nah, surely not. Not after the win that we had in the FA Cup. Like, it was so uncharacteristic. I mean, you would have just got the man sacked before that. But I've got two great personalities, two great Chelsea community people here with me. I've got Sadik from Worldwide Chelsea, and I've got PYS. First of all, Sadik, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. I know you're not feeling too well, but you probably won't be feeling better anytime soon now with this news. So thanks for having me on again.
Man, honestly, I can't say that, I'm surprised. But PYS, I know you're definitely not surprised. How you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm not too surprised by this news. I guess that we all knew this was coming, not necessarily after, this particular game against Luton, but I think overall we knew that at some point Lampard would be sacked. So I'm not as surprised as everyone else, to be honest.
100%. Let's try and go through how this all transpired, because I'm still in shock. I just literally found out like 5 minutes ago that Chelsea's actually made it, confirmed in their official website as well. I'll go to Sadik first of all. Man, how did this all break? Like, I heard that there was some sort of story coming from Matt Law initially that created the whole, euphoria and the pandemonium in the fan base. And then from there on, it all started escalating. And then obviously Chelsea had just come up with an announcement, and Roman with his quotes. How did all, like, how'd you sort of follow the whole news?
I mean, there's a few things I want to say on this. I'm not going to call out any names or anything personally, but I feel like if the journalists know what they're saying and they're saying a certain way, they know something's happening. Okay, if you're not a journalist, please do not tell me fake news. Don't give, Chelsea fans hope that he might be staying for a bit longer and stuff, because you do not have information. That's the first one I want to say out there. Second of all, Simon Johnson, I felt like he kind of gave the hint on the TalkSport. I think, they knew something already was going on already whatsoever. I felt the choices were being made already. He's probably in London right now. I know UK reports are saying Tuchel's not in London right now, but I think he is personally. I think the quarantine stuff is being done right now in terms of he's nearly finished it, and it will be announced very soon where he'll probably be in a touchline for a Wolves game or something. So trust me, journalists know every single step. Frank Lampard probably gave Mason Mount the captain for the last time before he's gone. The banner, he saw it. I think the board let him see the banner, and I'd have made a choice for him to go. He was already done. Yeah. We had false news about 3 to 5 games to turn it around. That's proper nonsense. I'm sick and tired of Twitter accounts getting followers out of it, because it's not right. It's not right, man. Honestly, I'm not talking about Carefree Youth only. I'm talking about other accounts out there just talking nonsense. It's really, really annoying me.
No, true talk, man. And what you just said as well, like, it all is starting to make sense now. The sentimental value of giving Mount the captaincy. I mean, I looked at Mount's captaincy yesterday and I thought, okay, fair enough. It kind of makes sense. No Azpilicueta, no Thiago Silva, no Jorginho. I was like, okay. But now looking at the whole thing, Sadik, it's what you said. Frank would have known that this is coming. Give the boy a captaincy just before he goes. I'm sure the players would have known as well. PYS, just quickly to let everyone know, Younes is coming on as well very, very soon. PYS, I want to go to you, man. We sort of talked about this in our recording a few days ago, and we were sort of saying that the form is unacceptable from a Chelsea point of view, like the way we've been playing, all the results that's been happening. You even said, how the hell is this man still in the job after the Arsenal game? Because you were devastated. And we could see in the performances of the players as well. Do you reckon, PYS, some of these players probably knew this was coming as well?
Yeah, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if some of them have gone to the board and complained, or gone to the agents and have said, look, we don't, you don't know what happens behind the scenes. Like, I know the Athletics say a little bit, but there's so much more that happens behind the scenes. I was just watching Sky Sports News and they were saying that, Roman Abramovich didn't like the lack of confidence in the team. He didn't like the way we was playing. So there's a lot of things, a lot of variables that go into this sacking, and I think I don't know. It's harsh to say it's deserved, but I mean, how can you disagree when you look at the table and you know, not only that, but as I said to you on our podcast as well that we did, that the guys below us have games in hand. It's not like we are, you know, just a little bit off top four. We could be a lot off top four. So I think that sacking him makes sense. But also what I said to you is that, you know what, a new manager coming in may not fix anything right now because of the fixture schedule, the congestion and everything. It's going to be hard for Tuchel to sort of get to work straight away and then just, you know, make everything click. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. He's an interesting manager. He's very intelligent. So I don't see a way where, you know, he can't get this team clicking and he can't get more confidence into the team and certain players. You know, you're looking at Havertz, you're looking at Werner. Really struggled under Lampard. So I'm interested to see how they do. Another thing that people aren't really mentioning as well is Thiago Silva's relationship with Tuchel will be vital. Wouldn't be surprised to see if he makes him captain, you know, if the board allows that. And I think that, I think that there's going to be a lot of positivity under him, hopefully, anyway.
No, for sure, man. I mean, look, we're going to talk about the whole replacement thing very, very soon, but we've got our man Younes in the house. Younes, how you doing?
Yes, lads. How you doing? I'm good. I'm all right. Obviously, this news is crazy. Expected, but crazy. But yeah, man, good to be on. Sadik, PYS, how you doing, mate? You right, lad?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
Honestly, I woke up, like I was just telling to the boys, I've been a bit under the weather since yesterday off the back of our match.
Yeah.
I woke up and I see all these WhatsApp messages saying Lampard sacked in like capitals. And I'm like, what is going on? What did I wake up to? Because, I mean, Younes, you know, just the way I was sort of saying to PYS and to Sadik as well, that it was probably coming. It was inevitable. We were saying that it's inevitable. I think the manner it kind of happened now is what sort of shocked me, that off the back of a FA Cup win, I thought now he's going to get the opportunity to play against Wolves, you know, possibly get a win there. And I don't know, I just started thinking in my head yesterday off the back of yesterday's win that perhaps he could get a bit of a run along. How did you take this news, man?
Yeah, I was having breakfast. I was completely away. I was completely away from everything. My phone started pinging and I'm looking, I'm like, nah, not really? You know, especially after yesterday's loss, but it only confirmed what a few of us had said after the Leicester game. You know, we were expecting something immediately after, but it makes sense that it's not going to be immediately after unless someone's been lined up. And now it came out this morning, we tried to approach Ragnick as an interim. He refused. He turned that down. Wow. So that would have been the man to go to before going to Nagelsmann in the summer. You know, that was the club's prime route, and we couldn't do it. So next way to go is Tuchel, and we've done that. So now we've sealed Tuchel, and he's in London. So that's going to be announced later, I think. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that anyway. So now that's done.
You know it's done when he's sort of confirmed it. You know it's done.
Yeah, he gave the here we go and all sorts. So it's happening. But now that they've done that, Lampard gets the chop. And we expected it. The writing was on the wall. It was on the wall. It was going to happen. So it was only a matter of time before the club had found something certain and got a replacement done before they told Lamps, look, it's time to go. It's sad, but it was expected. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, 100%. Sadik, I want to just go through this whole Lampard sort of timeline. As I said before, we go touch on Tuchel. You sort of mentioned this. We had this conversation on the phone, you know, a few days ago, and you were saying that, and you've said it already here, that Simon Johnson doesn't say that kind of stuff in TalkSport, and he was trying to sort of backtrack and cover things up. It feels like Frank Lampard to be sacked or parted ways with was probably something they thought about, not in the last couple of weeks. I think this was happening way before that. I think this is something that we need to understand, and the fan base needs to understand that this didn't just happen overnight. Like I feel like this probably started, you know, as soon as our poor form started happening in December. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the one thing the board should have allowed was him to resign and leave the club rather than getting sacked like that. Because obviously, remember, first time I've seen him come out and give words. Basically, I don't think any other manager has got that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there was, but I don't think.
Yeah, first
I
time.
feel like they knew. I feel like that was something big. But like I was saying, Simon Johnson must have been saying a few things. He did say as well he can't say everything, and he did say when rather than if. So he knew it was all going to kick down. But I do feel, just out giving Mason Mount the captaincy, the banner, all that stuff for Lampard to see for the last time.
All the sentimental stuff.
All the stuff like that, and then let him go. And I do want to kind of talk about this Mason Mount captaincy. I think people are looking too much into it as well, talking about him being captain in the future. I don't really understand where it's all coming from personally, but maybe that's for another day. But as I said, I think after the Man City game was probably the time where, we're looking for a manager. Leicester was probably definitely confirmed, but like I said, the quarantine, lockdown stuff and all that, Tuchel in London, making sense with how many days left and all that thing adding up. I felt Chelsea are probably, calculating it, how to do it basically, and now is the best time.
PYS, I was listening to Cy Phillips, his podcast. He's got a podcast with Dan McCarthy. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it. He brought on Dean Jones the last episode, and I don't know how many people sort of listened to that, and this goes to all of you guys as well, but that episode had a lot in it, PYS. It was talking about how Frank Lampard did not want Havertz. It was talking about how Frank Lampard did not want a lot of these players. He didn't even expect like 6 or 7 players that were brought in here. Apparently, he just wanted just a playmaker with Ziyech. He just wanted a centre back, which he got with Thiago Silva, and he badly wanted Declan Rice. So all of these stories are sort of coming out now. I feel like, look, it's great that we went on and got all those players because of the pandemic that we were in, and we probably wanted to exercise our powers, knowing that no other club was going to, sort of go into the competition. But PYS, man, do you feel like it was a bit too much for Frank Lampard at the end of the day, with all of these personalities coming in with Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, Ziyech, Thiago Silva? Like, it was just probably a bit too many players for him to handle at such a rookie level.
Well, the thing is, you said for Frank Lampard, and I've said before that I don't necessarily think that the main 2 signings we made in the summer, Havertz and Werner, were for Frank Lampard. I always thought that they were for the next manager, and as you said, like it was more of a take an opportunity in the market kind of thing, So I thought it was a bit strange in the summer with how many players we signed. Obviously, I was just like gassing it up as every other fan, hoping that Lampard would do wonders with them. But yeah, I always thought that long term, especially when we started shopping in the Bundesliga, I thought, we don't usually do that. There's been links with Nagelsmann before, Lampard. There's been links with Tuchel before. I remember when Sarri got sacked, Chelsea. Before Sarri came in, we wanted Tuchel, and he made a good impression with Mourinho, with the board, but obviously we went with Sarri. So yeah, I just think that with the amount that Havertz has been on the bench as well under Lampard, I think that maybe that story does have some truth in it, that Lampard didn't necessarily want Havertz. I'm sure that obviously he's taken Havertz and he's happy about it. He gets to add him in his squad, but there's a difference between taking a player and really, really pushing for a player and wanting it like he does with Declan Rice. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, and it's going to be, again, interesting to see what Tuchel does with Havertz and Werner, because what I'm reading is that he's very excited about working with them both. And these 2 players are the ones that we need to get the most goals out of, the most assists out of, because they are our 2 main signings. And again, it's a massive reason why Roman Abramovich has got rid of Lampard, because them 2 are not good enough and have not been playing good enough. And, that's all I really have to say on it, really. Yeah,
man, like we've said it. I've spoken to, Younes about this. I've even spoken to Worldwide Chelsea about this, who's sort of Thanos style just disappearing on us, just like his camera is just doing a mad Thanos job on us. But Younes, man, the other thing that was quite telling in that whole, Dan McCarthy and Cy Phillips with Dean Jones was, Dean Jones said that what the board wasn't entertaining a lot about this whole situation was the whole ideology of this season was that the gap between City and Liverpool will be small. like we're going to be up there. We're not going to be dwindling on. The expectation wasn't to win the league. Like this is what he was saying. Like he's got connections inside the club and whatnot, and he's saying that we're going to be mixing it up with the big boys. I think one of the biggest things that was sort of happening throughout this time is that Roman did not appreciate the fact that how far we were away from the top, especially Man United. Like Roman really, because this is what Dean Jones was saying, he's like, how can Man United be 11 points ahead? Like, you know, these guys were in the same level as us. So how did they go so far ahead? And we spent £250 million, and we are so below in the whole table. So this is what Dean Jones was saying, that was one of the biggest factor. Do you feel that you know, we were sort of talking about this, that gap is just not acceptable? Do you think that's where the buck sort of stopped, that, you know, as much as we want to be sentimental, the gap is just not acceptable?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it comes down to. And I think now Tuchel's coming in to try and salvage and get top four whilst it's still possible, because you know, we've spoken about this, and I've already said, you know, even mathematically now it's starting to become a problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's if Everton win their game or games, if I'm not sure how many games in hand they have, but the same goes for Tottenham. They got one. Yeah, Everton have two. Aston Villa have two. They win those games, then it's no longer just a 5-point gap. It's an 8-point gap. It's you know, starting to get to the territory of, we lose one more game, it could go beyond 9 points. You know, it could become quite a gap where you're relying on others to lose 3 games, and we're not allowed to lose one more. It's tough, and this is the time where we've spoken about the schedule, we've spoken about the calendar that we have. With the tough games coming up after Tottenham, we've got like Sheffield United, Newcastle, but then, you know, Atletico, home and away, Man United, Liverpool. You don't want to change managers at that point. Yes. There's no stability there. And you want the manager to come in and really familiarize himself before he plays the top team. So to give yourself a shout at top four, this is the time. This is the time. And we said it, you know, you look at the fixture list, this is the best time to make a change if we are going to make one. And if we don't, stick with Lampard until the end of the season if you're happy without getting top four. So, yeah, definitely. It comes down to the fact of keeping that gap intact, keeping top four as a, you know, having a chance at getting top four, and trying to rejuvenate this squad, because it was only heading one way. It was only heading one way.
No, for sure. I mean, this was not going to be a fairy tale ending here. We could see that coming. Sadik, but I need to talk to you about this comment here, because this is what I'm afraid of next up, right? And we want to start talking about Thomas Tuchel now, because it looks like, as the boys have been saying, Fabrizio Romano has given it the here we go. So it's probably going to happen. You've even mentioned that he's probably in London right now, probably signing things up. And we knew this man was ready to take the job. There was all sorts of words as soon as he finished up with PSG. He was ready. He wanted to get his representatives to get this done. But Sadik, this comment, Roman will keep sacking coaches like this always. Chelsea will never build a team if he keeps doing that. How do you now feel about Thomas Tuchel possibly coming in? I mean, I don't know how quickly he's going to turn this around. I don't know if he's just going to flick a magic wand and get this all sort of running and everyone starts playing well. I mean, we very well maybe, but surely he has to be given time, right? Like, I mean, we can't be sacking him after, 4 or 5 games of poor results.
I mean, managers will get at least 18 months here, probably, most likely, from what we've seen with Frank Lampard. That's first of all. Second of all, he was not my, preferred option. But in terms of what we're aiming for with the project and stuff like that, he's the man that suits it. He brought out Pulisic when he was 16, 17 years old. I don't think people should be worried about the youth and stuff like that. I feel like we've got a more experienced manager that you guys wanted Lampard to do. He will do it, basically. You're going to be seeing a lot of surprises as well. I feel like Rudiger's going to be first choice. And I'll tell you why. And him playing most of the recent games was probably a message from the board for him to start playing and getting used to football again. So I do believe Tuchel wanted him at PSG as well. We always do Chelsea daily videos, Younes and stuff, yourself. So we know we're going to be seeing a lot of changes, basically. I don't think some of the youth are going to be making it at the same time. I don't think like Tammy or Mount are going to be first choice like they usually are nowadays. We're going to see some big changes, but one thing we can be assured on is that Tuchel will play players on merit. you're good enough, you play. And that's the most important thing. In terms of the projects, we're talking about 3-year project with Frank Lampard. He made it a year and a half. We're going to probably try and finish that with Tuchel now. If not, I wanted Allegri. I know a lot of people won't like that, but I just want the old style Chelsea. I just want the trophies to come in. If it's short term, it's short term, because this club's not going to change. I do believe Tuchel won't probably be here for longer than 2 years, straight up.
PYS, and I remember you telling me in our recording a couple of days ago that Nagelsmann was your ultimate choice. Obviously, Rangnick as an interim, but you weren't too sort of unpleased about the whole Tuchel situation. You sort of thought that obviously he's got the CV to warrant a place at Chelsea. But I want to continue on with what Sadik said, because that's the biggest, most important talk at the moment I'm seeing in timeline. Everyone's very, very worried about our academy players, PYS. I want you to sort of say, how would players like, Tammy Abraham or even Mason Mount to a certain degree? I know a lot of people have been saying Mason plays under every manager. I'm not quite certain about this. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate right now for saying this, but I don't think it's as clear cut as what people think. I mean, look, I know you've been skeptical about Mason Mount, so that aside, but I'm not one who's been skeptical, and I'm saying this, that Mason's a fantastic player, but I don't think he starts under every manager. Yes, he's got the energy, the pressing and everything. He even got the captaincy, which now seems like might have been a sentimental thing off the back of what Sadik is saying as well. Kind of makes sense to me. But PYS, what's going to be the outlook for our youth academy players, and even the ones that were sort of pipeline to come through, like Tina Angerine and the likes? Your thoughts?
Look, I think the one thing we need to say about Tuchel is he often changes the lineup. He often changes systems. And I think that there's not going to be a sort of strict 11 that he puts out, a sort of strict formation like we saw under Sarri was always 4-3-3. Lampard tinkered a bit. He did 4-2-3-1. He did 4-3-3. He did the odd three at the back. But I think Tuchel is way more versatile and flexible than both of those managers. So I wouldn't worry for Mason Mount and the other youth players. I think if you're asking me particularly about Mason Mount, I think he does play a lot under Tuchel because Tuchel likes players that are good on the ball. He likes high intensity midfielders. So I think that Mount does play a lot under Tuchel. So I think that's the answer for Mount, I'm guessing, that you wanted. So who were the other players you asked about, like just in general?
Tammy Abraham, Billy Gilmore. I mean, Frank had already mentioned about Billy Gilmore.
I'm not sure about Tammy Abraham. That's going to be something that I'll be interested to see what happens. I think Billy Gilmore does get quite a lot of game time under Tuchel again, because Tuchel had Verratti, who liked to drop deep in between the centre backs, pick up the ball, very good on the ball, very quick passer. Tuchel likes that sort of player. I can also see Jorginho playing quite a bit as well, because basically Tuchel just likes ball players. He likes people good on the ball that are intelligent. I think both fit those moulds. Obviously with Jorginho you have his defensive, worries, but again with Tuchel he's someone that gets the best out of players. So I think that you could see a lot of hope, a lot of turnaround in some players that you didn't think had hope in them before. And that's what I'm particularly hoping for. People are worrying about the likes of Rudiger, but at the end of the day, if he plays well, he plays well. If he don't, he's not going to play. It's the same with any other manager. You don't need to make conclusions that, this guy's going to start, this guy's going to start all the time. Look, if they're not playing well, they're going to be removed anyway. It's the same as any other manager. So that's that on Rudiger. And I think the one I'm most looking forward to is Hudson-Odoi, because we saw what Tuchel did with Ousmane Dembele. We saw what he did with Pulisic. Very direct wingers that are pacey, good on the ball, have a lot of threat in them. So, yeah, I'm really excited about Hudson-Odoi under Tuchel. I think that he can be one of our main players. I don't think he's going to receive the same treatment, as he did under Lampard. Oftentimes under Lampard, we saw, he played well one game and then we were like, whoa, why is he benched? There's something going on here. I don't think that's going to be the case with Tuchel. I think that whoever impresses him is gonna play majority of the games. Although obviously, as I said before, he does change up systems. So don't get angry if don't get angry if he does change things up, because I know a lot of Chelsea fans, including myself, are like, sometimes we see lineups and we're like, why has he changed this for that? Why is he doing this? It's just like we have to accept that managers are versatile and flexible and will do what they want. And I'm sure that he has his ideas in mind already.
No, for sure. Younes, man, just to carry on this conversation, do you feel like some of the players that were sort of in the fringes might sort of start coming back into this lineup? I feel like players like Jorginho might even get an opportunity again. As people are saying, Tuchel likes players that are good on the ball. Let's face it, there's probably no one better than Jorginho in terms of being good on the ball, in terms of first-time touches and whatnot. I mean, defensively, there's an issue. But I've always said this, Younes, that under Sarri, there wasn't massive defensive issues with Jorginho. It's the way you set it up. It's the way you set up your, the whole team, the organization. If you don't set it up properly, you can expose certain players. We've started to see recently Kovacic being exposed as well, being in that sort of, I don't know, whatever role he was doing for Frank Lampard. Do you feel like, Sadik's already mentioned Rudiger. Do you feel like Kovacic, Jorginho, some of these players might start making a comeback in this team again, and then there could be an initial shake-up that Chelsea fans need to be ready about? What's
Absolutely. The truth of the matter is he's going to come in. He needs to analyze his squad. He needs to take a look at every single player and see what works for the system that he wants to implement. This isn't a case of, all right, what was it? What was the team, before I got here? Let's just run with that. No, he's going to look at every single player. So I do think players like Jorginho could have a way back into the side. I think, obviously, we've mentioned Rudiger. I think he's got a good chance now. I even think a player like Alonso has a chance of coming back in. It's open to anybody. And if we're talking about players that can move the ball quickly, I think even a Billy Gilmore, for example, has a shot at becoming a regular. Honestly, everyone is on the same level playing field now. Everyone is, and we have to give Tuchel the time to be able to look and fits best in the way that he plays. PYS made a very good point that we could see a similar starting 11 every game, but different systems, different formations being used, and that is what Tuchel is known for. So I do suspect that we will see elements of rotation. I think it's core to try and find the spine, and Tuchel needs a bit of time to find the spine and players that he knows he can rely on in any system. That's key because that counts as your foundation. But in terms of players coming in, absolutely, everyone starts from scratch. If you ask me now, what's the lineup for Wolves? I can't tell you. I don't know. I really have no idea. I can try and predict what I think Tuchel's going to do on the basis of what he did at Dortmund and PSG. I have no idea. So we'll wait and see. But he needs a few games, training sessions to see what's in front of him. And what worked for him at PSG and Dortmund, or what worked and didn't work, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same case at Chelsea, because the players are different, the circumstances are different, attributes are different, personalities are different. He just needs to find what's the best way to get these players clicking, and we'll wait and see what happens. But everyone's got a chance, everyone.
No, 100% agree, man. It's so well said for Wolves. We've got no idea, which might actually come in handy for us, because now Wolves won't even know what's coming up, because they probably would have predicted our lineup as well.
They got it.
Now Nuno Santos might be like, oh my days, I think I might actually get an L here. It could be an L for me. I was looking for a W, but Sadik, bro, let's tackle this super chat first. First of all, declare thanks, man, for the super chat. We'll more or less cover this, but I do want to touch this a little bit further with Sadik. How do you guys feel if all out-of-form players just turn it on with a clear sign that players have down tools to get Lampard out? Sadik, bro, I said this maybe from the start of the Chelsea, Man City game. I had some sort of inkling about it against the Arsenal game, but definitely the Man City game, I felt like some players, especially Kovacic, weren't playing up to his standards that I know that he can. And then, I was talking to the boys later on, Younes and a few other lads, that I feel like some of these players are not believing in him anymore. Did you feel deep down? I mean, let's be open about it. Frank Lampard's gone now, so we can't be worried about the timeline and what other fans are going to say. I feel like some of these players definitely down tools. Like, I felt that was the vibe I was getting, that these players did not believe in Frank Lampard. Is that how you felt as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all started when he started freezing out the fringe players, when he took out Tomori. I think that was basically beginning of the end. And then also the reports today, some from TalkSport, some from Athletic, about he didn't know who to trust. You know, he held conversations, you know, when things weren't going right, and he just didn't know whether he can trust him again afterward when they're speaking behind his back and stuff. So it was a lot more deep than we actually know and think about it. It was a lot more deeper, which means I only think probably the youth players gave 100%. There was also rumours about Azpilicueta being sold before the start of the season.
Wow.
That's what's being said right now. So you can imagine how serious and deep this goes. You know, you're freezing out Jorginho. Rudiger was dropped initially. Marcelo's gone. Tomori's gone. Hudson-Odoi not starting. You know, these are you know, giving question marks on what's going on. So yeah, when you have time, read Athletic and stuff like that, because they're going into proper deep, saying it's a lot more deep than we think it is.
Yeah, nah, man. We've said it, man. As I think, you know, this was coming, and it's a lot deeper than what it looks like. PYS, before we sort of wrap things up with the whole Bitcoin and the last word from Frank, let me just put Sadik on mute. I think it's Sadik's. Yeah, here we go. That's all right. PYS, I want to just quickly touch on the whole Declan Rice situation, because I feel like I don't know if we're going to be getting Declan Rice anymore. That might disappoint a lot of people in the fan base, but you know, I want to be honest here. I just want to be a bit honest because I don't want to hide my feelings. In recent times, I've been a bit annoyed in the timeline seeing so much about Declan Rice when so many things about our football club wasn't going right. Even when we played West Ham, which we didn't play well, there were certain players that did okay. We didn't praise those players, but we ended up praising Declan Rice throughout the whole match. Every West Ham match that took place after that, everything was about Declan Rice, Declan Rice, Declan Rice. And to a certain degree, deep down, I was a bit annoyed that, you know what, I'm getting just a bit annoyed about this whole news. And if this doesn't happen, I'm not even worried anymore. Like, there was a time where I definitely wanted Declan Rice. I could see what Frank was trying to do, but it just got to a point where I didn't even care that if we get him or not. Your thoughts about possibly either do we get Declan Rice or we not? Do you think Tuchel will fancy a player like Declan Rice?
You know, I'm not going to pretend to know everything about Thomas Tuchel. So in terms of Declan Rice, I don't know whether he will want him or whether it's more of a Lampard thing. So I think the one thing I can say is that I spoke to Liam Twomey a little while ago, quite a few weeks ago now, and we was talking about transfers, and he said to me, look, Declan Rice seems to be more of a board thing at the moment. He seems to be more of a Lampard thing, and the board sort of think that, you know, he still has a bit of a deficiencies, and they're wary of you know, spending like £80 million on someone they let go, and I can totally understand that from the board's perspective. So I think it's going to be interesting. And like you said about the fans spamming Rice on the timeline when he's not even our player, it's something that I've mentioned before. You know, when we played West Ham and he scored that offside goal, people were spamming Rice, and I was just like, this guy's not our player. Like, what's going on here? Like, seriously. People with Lampard have sort of just like said, oh, well, Declan Rice is 100% coming. Like, he's basically our player. Well, no, he's not. He's still a London rival. And I don't know, that just sort of baffled me a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I've got nothing against people that like Declan Rice. He's a proven Premier League DM. But obviously it's the price. Will Chelsea play it? Will Tuchel want him? Not sure. We're gonna have to wait and see.
No, for sure, man. Itez, thank you for the super chat. Throws out all bad players, though. Look, the only thing I want to say about this, Itez, is that I think it's deemed to be bad players because it didn't fit the system the way Frank was trying to do. I would not be 1% surprised if all of these players start to look like world-class players under Tuchel, because it all depends on how you utilize them. So be open to that as well, guys, that some of these players, Jorginho, Kovacic, and as Younes said, even Alonso could start looking like world beaters, because it all depends on how you utilize them. And, you know, I'm not having a go at Frank here because he had a set ideology and how he wanted to play, and these players simply didn't fit in that ideology. So that's the only thing I want to say. Let's start quickly wrapping things up here. Younes, I want to now just talk about, you know, Frank Lampard's time in Chelsea. Obviously, such great euphoria when he took over. Deep down, we all knew, every single one of us knew, I don't care what people have to say, it was too early. from my perspective, and I want to hear from your perspective how you sort of summarize his whole time here. From my perspective, I think he's done pretty well last season. I think I'd probably even deem it as a successful season. Even though I expected us to get top 4, Younes, I can understand why some of the fans probably didn't feel that way. And when we did end up achieving it, it looked like it was a definite success. And obviously integrating the youth players in, we've now given a great value to players like Mount, Tammy, Reese. These guys, £0 literally. And now these guys have a proper value in world football that if they were to sort of get let go of, like tomorrow, we've got a sell-off option for about 30 million euros or something like that. So, from that perspective, it's been great. The only issue I have with Frank Lampard with his time here is I feel like we did not have a distinct way of playing. I don't think we had an identity. I don't think we knew how we played. And I know Sadik has the same problem with Frank Lampard in regards to this, that he always says, what are we? Are we just crossing? We don't even know what we're doing. And you've said it as well many times. Is it just the crosses? I'm pretty sure PYS probably feels the same way. From your perspective, how do you look at his time at Chelsea?
Yeah, the circumstances he was given at the beginning, any other manager would, I wouldn't say struggle with, but would find it limited. We let go of Hazard, we had a transfer ban, we were forced to bring up youth players because of squad depth, and we got top 4. Albeit on the final day, but we got it. And that was deemed as a success, absolutely. And that set the standard, for this season, having spent all the money that we did and bringing these players in that we knew could try and elevate the squad to take it to the next level. That the next aim would be to close the gap on Liverpool and City. So, his first season, everything was completely understandable. And you couldn't really read into what Frank Lampard was about as a manager because of those limitations. Now, as we've seen this season, we can't even identify what's our style. We can't even identify what we're trying to do. At the beginning of the season, I'd understand that. First few games, I'd understand that. Especially the fact that every other club is in the same situation. The world is a complete mess. It's not smooth. So first few games, we'd know. But we're in late January, about to go into Feb. And other teams have figured themselves out and they're making that progress. Man United's a key example. But I understand with the transfers we've brought in, these players need time to integrate themselves. Some players even need time to develop their physicality. If we're looking at Havertz, for example, I believe that's one thing we're going to see next season. But you need to at least show what you're about in terms of what you want this team to do. I watch Chelsea and I can't figure it out. It does honestly just look like we pass the wings, we try and cross the ball in, and we hope. There's our midfield constantly gets overrun. Defensively, we look a mess. It's just like, what are we trying to do? And result after result after result, it's only a matter of time before Roman has to take action, look at it and think, what, this can't go on, especially if we've got objectives. And Frank Lampard overall, he wasn't ready. We all at the beginning said so, but then we got caught up in the hype because it's Frank Lampard. We got caught up in the nostalgia. We got caught up in the fact that it's a club legend, and we're very happy to have a club legend as our manager. In the hope as well that, hopefully he does well. Hopefully he is ready. Hopefully, because we didn't know. But we had that doubt. Is he too inexperienced? Is it going to catch up with him? And now it's proven, he is. And it has caught up with him. And I hope it doesn't affect his career. As much as I think there's a chance it could, but I hope it doesn't. I hope he can get a job elsewhere, learn, pick up the experience. And in, years to come, why not come back again? The door's open. This isn't a thing of, I don't want Frank Lampard here. He's a shocking manager. He's just not ready. If it gets to a point in a few years' time where he does look ready and he's starting to become successful and he's rectified his errors and he's developed, why not? Because we know he cares, but he's just not ready. He's just not ready. So it was bound to happen, and our initial doubts have come to pass and show that they're true. So
100%.
Yeah, we thank him. We thank him, and we hope he's successful elsewhere. And, maybe down the line, the second coming, as I said in my video, the second coming of him can be different to the second coming of Jose, where it went downhill. Hopefully with Lamps, it can take us to another level.
No, for sure, man. I'm going to put the link to both of these lads' videos, Younes and Well Watchers. And I think PYS, you guys also had a recording that was up, so I'll have it all in the description. Guys, do check it out. These boys have some really interesting takes on what's going on. Sadik, I know you got to go, my man, but I want to give you the final thoughts from your side before you sort of go. Shout out to almost 200 people that have logged on. Please smash the like button as well. Sadik, bro, from your perspective, how do you see the whole Frank Lampard tenure and what's basically coming up for us, which seems like Thomas Tuchel?
Yeah, I mean, he can hold his head up high. First season, I wouldn't say overachieved, but he achieved really, really good with a transfer ban. Got us Champions League football. I felt he changed the transfer market for us in terms of ambition, going from Zappacosta and signings like that to, obviously, not every signing to him, but in terms of the board improving ambition for the signings of the club. We're going up, basically. I know the second of Frank Lampard looks like we're going back, but the players that have come in is showing that Chelsea are trying to progress as a club. So I don't think we should be put off. I don't think people should be booing or going against Tuchel. Especially, it's not his fault. Lampard's been sacked. He's just the man that's going to be taken over. So, at the end of the day, Chelsea come first. If they win, that's the best thing. Obviously, results have to be the most important thing. Trophies always going to be coming our way, and that's the most important thing.
No, 100%, man. Well, what else? Honestly, thank you heaps for your time. Go and enjoy the rest of the day. I know you've got work.
Bare meetings. Honestly, I'll see you guys soon.
Continue the show with Younes and PYS. See you later. PYS, man, from your perspective, a couple of things I want to talk about. Obviously, let us know your feelings about Frank and obviously his tenure here. But the other thing, and I'll go to Younes as well after this, because I feel like we need to talk about this whole Jody Morris thing as well, PYS. Like, I have not been one bit impressed by this guy. I don't know how much of a good influence he was to Frank Lampard. I want to just specify one particular moment where my man Younes got blocked by this guy. And it was off the back of Jose Mourinho saying, I would say, some facts about our situation. And Jody Morris, went up in social media, and recently he did the same thing as well. And I felt it at that point that this is going to come back to hurt us, because you do not disrespect a wealth of experience. I'm not even talking about experience, like I'm talking about wealth of experience here, right? From your perspective, one, how was Frank Lampard's tenure in your perspective? But two, talk a little bit about Jody Morris factor as well.
Well, in terms of Lampard, I mean, you can look at it two ways. You can say it's a success because of last season's circumstances, or you can look at it another way and say, look, we bottled the FA Cup, we didn't win a trophy, so, he had the lowest points per game total. You can look at it and say it's a bad tenure. So for me, I think it's a little bit in the middle. I don't think it's a really big success, because then what are our standards? We didn't win a trophy under him, and we've regressed this season when we've bought big players. So I think it's a success in terms of, what he did with the young players and stuff, but overall picture, it's just a bit in the middle for me. And that's what I've said before. I want him to come back as manager when he's ready. And this is what I said at the start when he was appointed, that I don't think right now is the best time. I don't think that he will get enough time to do good things here. So yeah, I think that's interesting. An interesting topic. I know everyone has different opinions on his time, but for me, it's just a little bit in the middle. In terms of Jody Morris, I mean, I'm not a big fan of him, to be honest. Yeah, he's an interesting character, to say the least. Oftentimes, I really wondered what he gave. I've said before that I would have liked to seen Lampard with more of an experienced head next to him, such as like a Steve Holland or someone, whether or not that was possible. But I just think that in these difficult times leading up to Lampard sacking, who has he had to fall back on? He's had Jody Morris, who is known for his academy work. And you know what? It made sense bringing him in last season, because it was all about the academy. It was all about bringing the youth in. He knows them players best, the Hudson-Odois, the Mason Mounts, everyone else. But I just think it's been a bit of a mess this season, because both of them haven't had enough experience with dealing with top flight players such as Havertz, such as Werner, such as the others with signed Ziyech, So I think that's what Tuchel will bring. Tuchel will bring experience. And one of the quotes he said before is that he's not afraid of star names, which is a perfect quote to hear, because he's not going to back down. He's a very strong character. He will work with them, but if they mess around, he's going to put them in their place. And you know, that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited for authority back at Chelsea, hopefully, because I feel like under Lampard that's been missing a little bit. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. Younes, I want you to talk a little bit about this whole Jody Morris thing, because I was there. I was there through that whole time when it was transpiring. I remember I DM'd you saying, I find this mad that he blocked you. But touch a little bit about that. But then let's talk about finally Thomas Tuchel and what PYS was sort of saying, you know, the likes of Timo Werner and Kai Havertz, all of these players, I feel like will come alight, I feel, under Tuchel, hopefully. And obviously Pulisic having that history as well. So you give me your sort of perspective as how you sort of think is going to transpire under Tuchel. But yeah, first of all, start with Jody Morris, because everyone needs to know this.
Yeah, that Jody Morris saga was crazy. I mean, I forgot it, like what I even tweeted like in detail. I know it was just about what his post regarding Mourinho, and he put the thing on Instagram with like the crying emoji and like, oh, you know, Jose cares, ha ha ha, or something like that. And I just
you were backing Mourinho. I remember you were backing
absolutely.
Mourinho. You were saying,
I mean, it was done in the case of there's no need to post that.
Yeah,
there's no need. You're the assistant coach at Chelsea Football Club. You know, Mourinho's made a comment as a pundit, which he was entitled to do. There was nothing offensive. There was nothing aimed at Chelsea in regards to like, I'm going to start taking digs and shots at Chelsea or Lampard. Mourinho said the truth about how he was worried in certain elements of the way that we were playing. But he's entitled to that. There's no need to come on Instagram and put a post up, you know, Jose's worried, ha ha ha.
Immature.
And you're the assistant coach at Chelsea. So I just put a tweet up because I know he's very active on Twitter. I put a tweet out and I was just like, there's no need. You know, there's no need to do that. It's simple. And especially to our greatest ever manager. You know, at least if he was just a pundit, at least if he was just Robbie Savage. If he was just Robbie Savage, I'd be like, oh, you know, even so, I don't think he should be doing that on Instagram, but still, okay. Yeah. But for Jose, we know he's not stupid. Come on. Especially for us, you know, Jose's done mad things. And it didn't end well, you know, in 2016, but in 2015. But there was no need for the post. But then all of a sudden, that tweet kind of blew up, and the next thing I know, he's blocked me. And I was like, you know what? Fine, I'm not fussed. But in the back of my head, I did have it of this is going to come back to bite you. Not the block. I mean, your post about someone like Jose, or the way if that's how you're carrying yourself on social media, that's going to come back to bite you because you don't have the experience to back up yourself. You know, and if things do go wrong, which I hope they don't, but if they do, it's going to look a bit silly. And look at us now. Jody Morris has left Chelsea. Mourinho's got a job at Tottenham and he's doing fine. So it's, you know, anyway, that's the thing with Jody. And obviously, you know, good luck to him as well, as we say for Lamps as well. But for the players that we have and Tuchel coming in, I think there's going to be some key relationships there that he obviously has. Thanks to PSG and the Dortmund days, I think his bond with Thiago Silva is going to be key. Yeah. I'm expecting Thiago Silva to put the armband on. If I have to guess who's going to be the captain, I think it's going to be Thiago Silva. His relationship with Pulisic, you know, I think he's going to bond very well with Werner and Kai Havertz. That's 100%. For sure. Yeah. And if there's one thing that I've seen about Thomas Tuchel is, he doesn't take any crap. That's for sure. He's very direct and he's very experimental on the training ground as well. It seems like he's someone that's very assertive and will not just explain with words, but will show you, you know, and goes into the detail. So I'm looking forward to seeing how things are going to transpire. And this morning, I've watched a couple of old interviews that he's had. And speaking about youth players and, you know, their integration and how to get the best out of a squad. And he's talking about orchestras and finding the right balance and this, that, and the other. And everything sounds great. It sounds great. Yeah. So I'm hoping that the issues he might have had at Dortmund and PSG wasn't up to him. I'm hoping there are some external factors there that, you know, peed him off or something. I hope it's not just him being a complete idiot. And if he can come to Chelsea and just, you know, revitalize the squad and get the best out of our signings, then we could be onto something. But, you know, good luck to him.
No, for sure, man. I kind of feel the same way as well. POS, some final thoughts before we wrap it up as a group here. Tuchel obviously looks like he's the frontline man who's going to come in. Your sort of message, I suppose, are you upbeat that we could possibly start seeing a team built around Werner, Kai Havertz, and possibly these boys, will start firing now? And also in the sense, a message to the fan base as well. Now that obviously a lot of the fan would be so devastated. I mean, we're devastated as well, but we kind of knew that this was happening with Frank Lampard. But we don't want this whole Tuchel out after like 3-4 games. Do you know what I mean? Like, give us a message out to the whole fan base about how you sort of expect the team to be built, and just the overall message on Tuchel's time here in Chelsea.
Yeah, I think in terms of like the way we were playing systems, as I've said before, he does change systems quite a bit, but you can expect high energy attacking football. He's said before that he likes attacking football. He wants to go forward with no fear, especially at big stadiums, but he's also cautious. So that comes down to him just being a good tactical manager. I'm hoping that he can find the right balance between attack and defence, which is something that Lampard took a while to do. We thought we found it a few weeks ago. We was winning, we was top of the table, but then everything went south. So I think Tuchel will be good for Chelsea. I really, really do. But I think this is the main message I wanted to send out, is that, I've been a big sort of Lampard out advocate, just because it's, for one, it's obviously our poor results, but everyone's like, well, just back Lampard, do this, back that. He's a good guy and everything, but it's much easier to back a manager who has pedigree than to back a manager who, despite who he is, despite the legend that he is, hasn't shown anything and isn't showing anything. So, to go on like very limited results. Oh, look, we beat Spurs last season. We finished top 4. Yeah, great. But what is he doing this season? It's all about in the now. You've got to judge in the now. You can't, go back and forth, because otherwise we'd be stuck with Lampard forever. And that's the big message I've sent out before, is that sentiment can't keep Lampard here, and it hasn't. And unfortunately, I've been proven right, because I wanted Lampard to succeed, but at the end of the day, I've said for weeks, he's going to go, guys. He's going to go if he doesn't fix up soon, if he doesn't get the best out of certain players. I'm telling you, Roman won't hold back. He doesn't care. He cares about Lampard, but he cares more about the future of this club. He cares more about trophies. So I think we'll be the same with Tuchel. Tuchel will get a chance. Tuchel will obviously get time. 18-month contract is what I'm hearing. So it's not like a big 5-year contract. So, I mean, maybe you can make conclusions about that yourself, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm looking forward to Tuchel taking over, just because I've watched his teams in the past. They are good. They are exciting. So, yeah, kind of reminds me of when Sarri took over with his quotes and saying, "Oh, I like all this." He's very. I get a lot of science behind Tuchel. Like, he likes all the little bits and bobs. He likes the in-depth detail. He likes the big preparation stuff. Whereas with Lampard, I sort of just found he had no tactics. I sort of found that we're just sort of what was the phrase we all used, like cross and spam the whole time. Like, we just had no idea. So I think it's going to be a lot more in-depth with Tuchel. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of different systems, different players coming to hopefully the top of their game. And for now, I'm excited for sure.
No, for sure, man. Younes,
I just want to say, sorry, really quick. I've literally just got a text from a tweet from the RB Leipzig admin. Going back to, honestly, basically, you remember my tweet to the Leipzig admin, and then they replied with "Doing great, thanks, and no chance, bye."
And they said bye.
They literally just followed that with "This aged well" and Kermit the Frog taking a sip of tea.
Oh my days! You got a really good relationship with the Leipzig people. That's
Quality.
To all the people that don't know, Younes and Leipzig, they go a long way. They've got a interesting relationship. So do check out that tweet. Younes, man, your final thoughts, and then I'll wrap things up about the whole situation. Your thoughts on Tuchel, because I just feel like, Younes, we've seen this far too many times, that now that he's come in, there could be a bit of a backlash, because there are certain people that probably would not like this to happen. honestly, this was a bit of a shock for me in the sense that it happened straight after the FA Cup game, although we all knew this was inevitable, and it probably happened for the right reason. But your message to the fan base that it's a clean slate, right? We just got to start all over again and give this an opportunity, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because I've seen the backlash this morning, and it's a bit of a contradiction. If everyone is, well, not everyone, but if those that are saying, "Oh, Frank Lampard, he shouldn't have been sacked. How dare the club do this? The board are a disgrace. This, that, and the other." And now they hear Tuchel coming in. They're like, "No, we don't want Tuchel. We wanted to keep Lamps and all that. We shouldn't be backing Tuchel." You're just doing what you said you wouldn't do with Lamps. So it's anyway.
Contradiction.
It's a contradiction. It's not Tuchel's fault. He's coming in to do a job now. He's been contacted. He's agreed to come in and do a job. He's doing a job. It's as simple as that. But we can't, what's done is done. What's done is done. That's it. Chelsea have decided to go on a clean slate. Chelsea have decided to get rid of Lampard, thank him for his time, and now we need a new manager. Tuchel's coming in. So it's as simple as that. You show backing and loyalty to Lamps. He's been sacked now. You show loyalty and backing to Tuchel. He's our new 100%. Manager. It's as simple as that. 100%. And he's not here as an interim. This guy, I think, apparently he's signing a 4-year deal. I don't know if that's legit, but if that is, that's a flipping huge
big.
Contract. That's huge. Personally, I don't think he'll make the 4 years. But I hope he does. And this is the thing. The one thing is, results will guarantee you time. That's just the way football is in today's era. If results are there, if you're progressing and you're taking the club in the direction that they want to be taken in, well, you'll be given time. That's it. So I hope Tuchel succeeds. And, as I said, we wish Frank all the best. And he's a club legend no matter what. That is on the wall and never being taken away. That should not be interfered with. So I do want to differentiate. This isn't a thing just on him personally. As a legend, that's intact and never going away. With Tuchel coming in, let's just hope he can revitalize the squad and get something out of the lads that Lamps couldn't. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
No, 100%. Guys, I'll wrap things off with my final thoughts on it. Is that it's what the boys said. Look, we backed Lampard from the get-go. Obviously, in recent times, as the results weren't going our way, I said it many times across many other YouTube channels where I've been featuring, and even on Twitter, that our club is too big of a club to go through 2 months of bad results. I know a lot of people have been saying, but what about Arsenal? Arteta got that patience from their board and whatnot. It's totally different. Arteta didn't get £250 million spent on their squad. Prior to this season, we got that. So we gave Frank everything possible to get this ball rolling. Whether some of these players he wanted or not, that's a different story, and that's for a different day. But bottom line is that Frank had done pretty good last season to get us to where we've got to, I suppose, this season. But this season was to get back into the top echelons again, and we are far too below in the table right now. Moving on to the Tuchel thing, guys. Honestly, I just hope, I put my hands together that, guys, back the manager. Frank Lampard tenure is over now. And as, PYS and Younes have said, hopefully he takes a bit of time off, just chill for a little bit, let that sort of, evaluate what has happened. And then hopefully he goes on, and if he does want to pursue the managerial route, that he goes and finds the right club again and then builds up his whole career. And maybe someday he could come back. But even if he doesn't go through the managerial tenure again and he looks at something else, good luck to him, and honestly, kudos to him. In regards to Tuchel, guys, I'm excited. I'm really am. The likes of Werner, likes of Havertz, likes of Pulisic, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and even our backline midfield. Hopefully we see a rejuvenated team, and we back them against Wolves. I'm now all of a sudden confident. Funnily enough, literally 2 hours ago, I was probably not confident, but now all of a sudden I'm thinking, things could change around. Some of these players, their performances could change around, and maybe you never know. We could fight back and get that top 4. And what a story that would be at the end of the season, from being so far away from that literally just a couple of hours ago to a point that hopefully we get that top 4 chance. I know a lot of people will say, we were only 5 points away from Liverpool, but don't forget all the games in hand and the way we've been playing. So that's the message, guys. I say back Tuchel. Just check what he's up to. I think it's going to be exciting times. We'll know very, very soon how this journey is going to go. As Younes said, it's all about results here, and what PYS was saying as well. Guys, thank you so much for your time. 336 people joined us, which is fantastic. Please smash that like button. Please, I'm pretty sure you guys all follow Younes and PYS, but just for my sake, I want to say, guys, thank you so much for coming in, to Sadik as well. Guys, honestly, follow Younes, follow PYS, check out their material in their YouTube channels as well. And yeah, until next time, everyone, see ya.